Welcome back to the series of Onshape video tutorials. In this video we're going to draw the reflector as a part of the head subassembly. Let's create a new sketch on the right work plane. So right click, new sketch, and then press N to view normal 2. Now at the moment it's going to be quite difficult to draw this because we've got parts in the way. So if I move over to the left hand side and where it says torch head, if I just left click on the eyeball, I can hide the torch head, and that just makes it a little bit easier for me to see what I'm doing. Okay, so just going to zoom in so we can see a bit more clearly in our workspace what's going on. Going to use the line tool. Going to create a horizontal line, and a vertical line. Doesn't matter about the sizes or the dimensions, and press escape once I've got those two lines. I'm now going to use the spline tool. This is the spline tool. I'm going to click my first point at the end of that vertical line, second point over here, third point over here, and if I press escape, that will end the spline. So I've got a 3-pointed spline. As long as it looks vaguely like this at the moment, it doesn't matter. I can adjust that later on. Now I'm going to add in a center line. So I'm going to use the line tool, the construction tool, and I'm going to go from the origin and go over to the right. So we've got a center line, press escape. So we've just got a single line. The next thing I'm going to do is add in some constraints. The first thing is I'm going to use the coincidence tool. I'm going to click on the top left corner of our sketch and click on the top left corner of our lens to attach that there. Now it's not quite gone to the corner because of the curved surface there, so I need to dimension that. So let's add some dimensions in. So I'm going to use the dimension tool. I'm going to go from the center line to our top line and change that to 45 millimeters, and I'm going to make this line here 6 millimeters long as well, and then our point here at the end of our spline to our center line is going to be 15, and I'm then going to dimension from the left hand or the right hand edge, I suppose, of our lens to the bottom of our spline, and I'm going to make that 39 millimeters. Now that's made our curve look a little bit odd, so I'm going to make sure I'm not on the dimension tool, and I can now play around with the midpoint of our spline, and I can also change the angle slightly with our handles, control handles. So I'm just going to try and get what looks like a kind of a nice curve. It doesn't have to be perfect, and we might need to edit it again later on. So as long as you've got a curve, a relatively smooth curve that looks something like that, that will be absolutely fine. I'm now going to add in some more lines and finish dimensioning. So let's go to the line tool. I'm going to add a vertical line here, followed by a horizontal line, followed by another vertical line, and go back to the dimension tool. So let's dimension this top line now 5 millimeters. We're going to dimension this point from the center line 11 millimeters. We are going to dimension this line to the center line 7.5 millimeters, and from the back edge of our lens to this line is 51 millimeters. We're now going to add on a second line on here, so we're going to use our offset tool, and we're going to select that line, drag it across, and then go round and select the other lines. If you select too big a distance on there to start with, it won't let you do this, so you might need to bring it back in a bit. Once you've done that, hit enter, and then we can change that distance. We want it to be 1.5 millimeters. You can now see that our shape looks slightly odd, so make sure we haven't got any tools selected, and we can pick that point again and we can move it around so that we've got a nice curve. Once we've got that, use the line tool again and we'll just close up our shape. And you can see it's filled it in with a light grey to show that it's a suitable sketch. So the next thing to do is to revolve that. So let's just go into isometric so we can see what's going on. And we can then go to our revolve tool and we can select our axis as the construction line that we drew earlier and click the tick, and there we go, that's it drawn. But again, we've added it in, it's part of the torch lens, so let's just edit that, go back to new, click the tick, drawn it in a different color now so we know that's a different part. So let's now rename that part and call that torch reflector. Now this is the last of the parts we're going to model for our series of tutorials, but before we finish, let's just colour in the parts. So let's show our torch again. Let's right click on our torch head and edit the appearance, and we'll pick the same colour that we had before for the body. Let's do the same on the lens, so edit appearance for torch lens, and we'll try and pick a kind of a lens type colour, maybe a little bit too grey, something like that, that will do. And then for our reflector, right click on that, edit appearance for the reflector, and we want something that's going to be perhaps a little bit silvery, so something like that. And there we have our parts done. In the next video, we'll put these together as a simple assembly. Bye for now.